Friday night in the sports show, the Olympics is just around the corner. We've talked about swimming. The USA had its track athletics meet for places on the team, and one of the greats of US track running, Justin Gatlin, who has been one of the fastest men of all time, always was in Usain Bolt's shadow, unfortunately, and some of his running would have actually won him gold medals every other Olympics except for the times he ran against Usain Bolt. Unfortunately, he did not make his fourth Olympic team at the age of 39. He did place down the list, but they have unearthed this Traven Brommel. Now, Jace, he ran the 100 metres in 9.8. Now, it's not near the 9.6 that we talk about with the great man, but this fella has in his past done some terrific times, and as a junior actually was deemed as the possibility to be the great Usain Bolt, the person to take over from him.
Well, it looks as though he's the heir apparent, but you just don't know what comes out of the Caribbean. Traditionally, the quickest athletes do come out of there, and they just jump out of nowhere. I mean, Usain Bolt came from nowhere. I mean, this was a guy who, when he won his first gold medal, had been thereabouts in some international meets, but once he got training and got everything sorted, gee whiz. So, yes, Brommel will head in as the best-known athlete going into Tokyo. Will he win gold, though? We'll wait and see what comes out of the Caribbean. I'm not convinced yet.
All right, now, the US female 100 metres. I don't know if you saw the video footage of Shay Carey Richardson. Yep. This is the girl with the almost, it's like a goldy leaf gold hair.
Goldilocks, yes.
She's quite amazing with her fingernails. They're longer than,
Flojo reincarnated.
She looks it, doesn't she?
Yep.
Now, you know what the suspicions were over Flojo and the 10.46 at the Seoul Olympics.
Yes.
And you know how that she, retired straight away, virtually. Yeah. Yep. Righto. Well, it's really interesting because they said that here comes the next fastest thing. And this girl ran a magnificent time. I think she ran basically around the 10.8 or something like that.
10.86.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, she was the heir apparent, was going to be the women's champion, and, unfortunately, not so much anymore.
No, she has been disqualified from her Olympic berth because she has been found to have drugs in her system.
Well, let's be technically correct here. So to keep legal happy, she was found guilty of returning a blood sample with a banned substance.
Right.
I don't want to use the word drugs. A banned substance is where we need to go for legal purposes. But look, the reality of the situation is if you're found with a banned substance in your blood, you are a cheat.
And she's going to obviously have all the B and all the other samples taken too, no doubt. But at the end of the day, it disqualifies her from the Olympics. So we were really looking forward to this. Now, it's interesting to say because Fox Sports reports that the Inquirer's Tyler Dragon's reporting Richardson did not use steroids but was facing a 30-day suspension for testing positive to marijuana.
Now, I'm not sure that that's a performance enhancer, Flowman.
No.
All it does for me, from past experiences, make you hungry. That's just what I've heard from a mate. I just want to clarify that. I don't need to be peeing in a cup every couple of weeks.
Do we have a drug test here for before we come on the radio?
Well, we probably should.
We should probably have it, should we, with yours?
Where's Clayton Bester?
Where is he?
Get him tested. Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you. Well, we're going to move on to even a more contentious issue.
Gee whiz, we go. Controversy abounds here on the sports show tonight.
American transgender runner has been ruled ineligible for Tokyo. And this is a move that I think when you've had a look at the weightlifting situation, that's been across a lot of publications where a New Zealand weightlifter is being allowed to compete in the women's competition of weightlifting. Well, Cece Telfer, who was about to run for the US, has been ruled ineligible to compete in the women's 400 metres hurdle, her signature event, at the US Olympic trials for not meeting the World Athletics eligibility regulations for certain women's events, reports Associated Press. If Telfer qualified, she would have made history as one of the first openly transgender athletes to be able to compete in an Olympic event. So, interesting, in 2019, World Athletics released new guidelines that cut off international women's events between 400 metres and a mile to athletes whose testosterone levels were at 5 nanomoles, that's nanomoles per litre, NMOL, and it's /L for litre or more, and that's according to ESPN. To be eligible to compete for an event under the requirements, Telfer would have had to suppress her testosterone levels below the 5 nmol and sustain them for at least a year at those below levels. And so, on the advice of the International Olympic Committee, she's not running in the 400 hurdles, and that is a very interesting decision. They have the regulations. I suppose if others have met those conditions, they are not precluding the transgender athlete from running. It's they have to meet the testosterone condition. I think that's where that is at the moment. Tough one.
Transgenderism in sport is a very, very difficult topic to discuss because whichever side of the fence you sit on, you will offend someone. There's no way to it. For mine, I have a problem with it. And I have a problem with it for what we just talked about, the fact that you can have those hormone levels above the average female athlete. I don't like that. I think, and the fact that you only have to do that for a year concerns me as well, because the way I understand it, additional testosterone in the blood helps you grow muscle. That means what? For 20 odd years of your life, you can have above the amount of testosterone that a regular female athlete would have, build muscle that way, and then you just have to have under that perceived level for 12 months. That doesn't seem right to me.
It's a very interesting time.
I want some science to come out. I want the Olympic Committee to back some science in here and set some decent thresholds that the public will understand and come out and say something. The other thing I don't understand is why don't we have a transgender games? We have, and I'm not comparing the two. Don't phone in or email. I'm not comparing the two here, but we have the able-bodied Olympic Games. We have the Paralympics. We have the intellectually disabled games as well. So we already have categories that we put people in. Why don't we have a transgender games where newly transitioned athletes can compete against their peers? There's plenty out there, and there's plenty of athletes amongst them. I don't understand why we couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's a very intriguing topic of conversation. One that many politicians have had their say about. I mean, Senator Claire Chandler from Tasmania is quite outspoken about the role that she believes that the sporting community and those that are administrating it should play in this arena. Her position is that we should keep the women's athletes as just women's athletes only, and that transgender athletes should not be competing at all in these competitions against women athletes because it gives an unfair advantage on those grounds that we've just talked about, testosterone and so forth. But that's a perspective, and again, this Olympics, it would be interesting to see what happens.
The touchy-feely stuff that comes in around transgenderism, I don't care if you subscribe to that. The one thing you cannot disagree with is the science.
It's the fairness of it, isn't it?
And the biology behind it. Regardless of whether or not you can identify as whatever you like. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm just talking about the general fairness of sport. We have drug testing in sport for a reason, for fairness' sake. And I think we need to be really careful how we handle this transgenderism rule, because if we don't, it makes a mockery of our drug testing.
It makes a mockery of all of those girls that have gone through the processes of training. Their college training, they go through school training, they then get to the next level, they get into a national squad through age profile, and then they finally get to their opportunity for a berth at the Olympics, and they are not able to make the team. Now, this becomes the questionable thing as to whether that's fair or not, and I guess that's becomes the topic that we're going to see others more educated in this area than you and I actually make decisions about.
Well, let's hope that they're transparent when they do. Are we right, wrong? Send us an email, news@flowfm.com.au.